Right, hello children, I'm Joanna and I'm from the Community Hubs in Hartlepool, and today we're going to have a story called Sally the Oil Rig Seal, and it's written by Peter Brunton, who is a local author, and it's based on true stories really of when he worked out on the oil rigs and he wanted to let his grandchildren know what was happening. So we've got Sally the Oil Rig Seal. Oh. It was another cold November morning on board the North Sea oil rig. It was very, very cold, very chilly. And the time was 9 o'clock and it was tea time. Time for hot rolls and cups of tea to warm the men who'd been working out in the cold. They're going to have their cups there and they've got their bread and toast. On their way to the tea hut, Peter the oil man, Harry the gas man and Taffy the Welsh crane driver spotted something in the sea. I wonder what it can be. Look here, said Taffy, pointing to a dark shadow in the water. Right, I think it's going to be a seal. You see the seal? What is it, said Peter. It's Sally the seal, said Harry. She's back. And sure enough, in the water was a lovely shiny seal bobbing up and down in the waves. She looks as though she's smiling at us, said Peter. As Sally was bobbing up and down in the waves, looking up at her friends, she remembered seeing Taffy and Harry before. But she didn't know Peter, the one with the hairy face. He's got a beard and she didn't recognise him. She thinks, who's this working here? She comes back every year, said Harry. We will have to tell Derek the baker. He likes to take photos of Sally for his grandchildren, and she catches fresh fish for him. Seals, that's their favourite food, fish. Now, watch her do her trick. Suddenly, Sally leapt up out of the water and then splash, she was gone. Let's see how long it takes her, said Harry. We will time her. So they look at their watches. It took Sally only seconds to reach the seabed where shoals of big fish lived. But there was something else on the seabed too, bigger than a fish. It was Dave, the diver, working, and he waved to Sally as she swam past. Right. Meanwhile, back on the oil rig, Peter, Taffy and Harry were looking at their watches. 1 minute on the dot, and up popped Sally with a big fish in her mouth, and all the men clapped and cheered. I can't believe it, said Peter. It only took her 60 seconds. Just 1 minute. Once she'd shown how clever she was, the little seal swam off to one of the other rigs to see her other friends. Bye-bye, Sally, shouted the men. See you next year. And a splash, and Sally was gone. Now, boys and girls, I hope you liked that story. I liked Sally. She's lovely, isn't she? And sometimes we go down to the coast at Hartlepool and other places and see the seals. And you can even go down to Seal Sands as well. And they're really lovely to watch. So I hope you'll get a chance to go and see them sometime. Right now, I think we're going to have another story now. Do you like another story? I like that one. And this one is called Sally and her pups. Oh, she's got some little pups now. Let's see what Sally does. Right, I'm going to sit on my knee, Sally, because, yeah, there you go. It was 12 o'clock and lunchtime on board the oil rig in the North Sea. And Gordy the chef was serving Peter his favourite meal of fish and chips with mushy peas. Oh, do you like that? I bet some of you do. Whilst eating their lunch, Taffy asked Peter if there'd been any sign of Sally. It's been nearly 2 years since she was last here. I hope she's all right, said Peter. And after lunch, Peter and Owen, the control man, were looking out to sea. "How old do you think Sally is now?" asked Owen. "I think she'll be 5. 5? Wow. I think I read that female grey seals mate when they're 3 to 5 years old, and I bet she's found herself a mate." And that's exactly what had happened. One day, Sally was swimming around the island and she spotted a group of grey bull seals. And there, sitting on the rock, sticking out his neck and singing his song, was Sid, the biggest, strongest, most handsome seal Sally had ever seen. It was love at first sight. Sally swam nearer. She just had to have a closer look. And the bull seals spotted her and started diving in to impress her. She didn't move, she just sat and waited. Sid made his move. He dived in, swimming deep and fast to beat all his rivals. He surfaced next to Sally, sweeping her off her flippers. And 1 year later, Sally gave birth to 2 fine, healthy twin pups. And after 6 months of feeding her pups, Sally decided to visit her friends on the oil rig. And it was Thursday on the oil rig, and that meant the crew changed. Taffy, Peter and the rest of the crew were on the heli deck, dressed in their survival suits and waiting for the helicopter to land. I'm going to be going back home. "Look," shouted Ricky, the deck foreman, "look in the water, a seal with her pups." And all the men rushed to the railings to get a better look. "It's Sally," said Peter, "and she's brought her pups to see us, to show us." Just then, the helicopter came in to land. And as the helicopter lifted off, everybody waved to Sally. "Goodbye, Sally. It's time for us to go home and see our children. Goodbye, Sally. Goodbye. Goodbye." The next day, Peter had arranged to have lunch with his friend Davy, the truck driver, at the Brassiere on Hudson Quay. Peter was looking out of the restaurant window when he spotted a seal and her pups in the quay. "It can't be," said Peter, gazing at the seals. "Or could it?" Peter and Davy rushed outside to get a closer look. "It is, it's Sally and her pups," Peter said. "But how did she get here? And how did she know where I live? She must be really clever, do you think?" And she got her little pups. So you like your pups, don't you, Sally? Right. Now I think, should we sing a song? Would you like to sing a song, boys and girls? It's called Sally's Song. And if we're really, really fortunate, we might have a special guest who comes. I wonder who that might be. Who do you think that might be, Pam? Sally, the seal. Can you give her a wave? Hi, Sally. Hello. Now we've got a lovely song that I hope you'll all be able to join in with. And it's called Sally's Song, and it's bobbing up and down. When we do the bobbing up and down, you've got to just go up and down like this. Can you do that for us? Bobbing up and down in the great North Sea. Who? Sally the seal. Catching fresh fish for the oilman's tea. Who? Sally the seal. Splashing, dashing, thrashing there, happy, smiling, not a care. Comes the seal we love to see. Who? Sally the seal. Up and down in the great North Sea. Who? Sally the seal. Catching fresh fish for the oilman's tea. Who? Sally Dashing, dashing, thrashing there, happy, smiling, not a care. Who's the seal we love to see? Who? Sally the seal. Dashing, dashing there, happy, smiling, not a care. Who's the seal we love to see? Who? Sally the seal. Now, boys and girls, I hope you've enjoyed that. It's been so lovely, and I hope you've been able to join in with the singing, and I hope you like the stories as well. And if you get a chance, do go down over to the coast and see if you can see any seals, because they're great fun to watch, and you might even see them diving. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? Well, you take care and see you another day. Bye.